Hey guys, we're gonna do the corrections on, or the corrections on the North Dakota fishing um, page or worksheet a little different today. And what I'm gonna show you is I'm gonna go to my eBackpack right here, and I'm gonna sign in. I'm going to go to the worksheet, North Dakota Wildlife, and I'm gonna go to Fun with Fishing. So, um, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna show you a couple of these, and I'm gonna just tell you the answers on a couple of these. So, just bear with me if I have to find a website. So, uh, the fish at the top here, right here, is one of the most popular fish in North Dakota, and throughout the Midwest. That fish is a walleye. The walleye is a member of a perch family. Although it's not called a perch, it is called a walleye. You can notice right here, it doesn't, on these dorsal fins, it does not have black spots. If you saw black spots on the dorsal fins, it would be a fish that looks almost like a walleye, but it's actually called a sauger. And they're two different species of fish. Number two, using North Dakota road maps, that's a typo on my part. And North Dakota outline maps, you do not have to use those maps. You could find it online. Label all the fishing waters in Dickey and Sargent County. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go to North Dakota Game and Fish. I'm going to go to maps. Now I know the site a little bit better. You guys, you might not be able to. You might have had to go to somewhere else first. And I'm going to go to fishing. I'm going to go to where to fish. Okay. I guess you wouldn't have to go to maps, but just the way I guess I navigate it. Right under here, it says you can find several different things. North Dakota fishing waters, etc., etc. I'm going to go by county because Dickey and Sargent County are two different places. I'm going to go to Dickey first. Right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We really only have two lakes located around Oaks. One is Tad Lake, which is just west on the paved county road straight out of town. The Heinrich, Hofer, Moores, Pheasant, Shimmons, and Wilson are all located over west of us. Ellendale area, Pheasant Lake is straight west Ellendale. Hofer is somewhat by Oaks. I've personally never fished it. And then you have Heinrich, which is way out by Ashley, and Wilson Dam, which I've never fished either, which is by somewhat by Whitestone Hill. So Heinrich, Hofer, Moores, Pheasant, Shimmons, Tad, and Wilson, the Wilson Dam, are all the waters in Dickey County. So if we go down, we're now going to go to Sargent, which has a few more, if I am not mistaken. A little more down. I'm still on the M's. Oop. Go back up. Now I'm going to go to Sargent County. So Sargent County has a lot of I'm just reading some of these while I'm posting. Has a lot of different fishing waters, and actually I see a new one that I have not seen on here before called Deuce Lake. I have personally not fished that one. Anyway, Alkali, Berg, Buffalo Consolidated, Fiala, Kraft, Nelson, then Ole Bram, which is by Rutland, Silver Sprig, and Lake Tawakan, Tossie Slough, and Lake Wallstead are all, most of them are around the Foreman area. Silver right here and Sprig are actually two lakes that are they're they're very close to where I grew up, and they say they're by Cayuga. They're actually more by Rutland. Lake Tawakan is over south of Cayuga, if you know where that is. All pretty good fishing lakes, and then obviously the one closest to us is Craft Slough. Craft Slough is just west or east. I'm sorry, east of Oaks. Biggest body of water in Sargent County. And for the most part, it's been a pretty good fishing lake for everybody, especially both winter and summer. We're very lucky to have it around. There's many different fishing lakes in Sargent County, more than Dickey County for us. So all these lakes, I know you can't drive yet, but are within drivable distance for most of you, when you do get your license. All right, our next question. What do you think the most common fish in North Dakota is? Well, the most common fish in North Dakota is not a walleye. The most common fish in North Dakota is a common carp. A common carp. If you've ever caught a carp, I hope you threw it back or got rid of it. The next one says, look at your list of North Dakota state record fish. Use it to answer the following questions. Number 5 and 6, it's actually 4 and 5. I don't know why it says 5 and 6. Excuse me. It is 4 and 5. I don't know why it says 5 and 6. Anyway, what is the biggest state record fish? What species and where was it caught? So again, I'm going to go back to my North Dakota Game and Fish website. I'm going to get out of here, and I don't know. There is a search bar, and I'm going to search state record fish. I'm going to see what that does. I remind you, I'm not. I'm familiar with the website, but I'm not. I haven't set anything up. I'm not going quickly. I'm actually just finding them as you're finding them. So I might miss something, but it looks right here that I can just click on this result and I can go state record fish, and it looks like I got a list. And right here, I'm going to have to search for my biggest state record fish. So let's go by poundage. State record fish looks pretty easy. Biggest state record fish looks like, to me, it's the paddlefish, both poundage and length. So that was pretty easy to find. Now the next one says, I'm going to go back. The next one says, same question as number 4, but it's the smallest. I'm going to insert the word smallest for largest. So what's the smallest state record fish? Now these are non-game fish. Right here it means that you can catch as many as you want. There's no rules, no regulations on them. So technically you're looking at the Cisco being the smallest state record fish. And it's 2 pounds 9 ounces, and it's 18 inches. That's a big Cisco. And then up here, your state record game fish would be a yellow perch, 15-inch yellow perch, and it's 2 pounds 15 ounces. That is huge. If you're talking about keeper perch, typically keeper perch in a small local lake like Craft Slough are going to be 9 inches, 10 inches. You can keep them all the way up to 12 and 13. They're not as common, but you're going to see them. I have personally seen a 14-inch perch, and it was a monster. It looked almost like somebody stuck a air hose in its mouth and blew it up, so it almost looked fake. But it was absolutely huge. And then even bigger than that would be your 15-inch perch, which I have never seen. So Cisco, non-game fish, yellow perch, game fish, I don't care what you put. I also don't care if you put pounds or you put inches. If you went inches, you would have to go with the yellow perch. If you went pounds, you would have to go with the Cisco. If you have some combination of any, that's fine with me. The last one here that I'm going to just touch on is, if you look here, you have the state record walleye, which is 15 pounds, 12 ounces in a lake called Wood Lake, which is up north, up by Grand Forks. It's our oldest state record, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the interesting story behind it is technically this walleye was not caught; it was found. It was found on the shores of Wood Lake. The guy got it weighed, and it somehow is still our state record. There's been a lot of controversy around it. So it's an interesting story. If you guys are walleye fishermen, there's plenty of information on it. So you can go look that up. All right, our next question. Use your North Dakota Fishing Guide to answer questions 6 through 8. So aquatic nuisance species, what are they and why are they concerned in North Dakota? So an ANS, or aquatic nuisance species, are anything that is not native to the water that it's in. So you could have northern pike being an ANS species. You could have walleyes being an ANS species, because if they're not supposed to be there and they're there, that's a nuisance species. And why are they concerned? Well, if we're talking about a lot of the real concern species, such as zebra mussels, Eurasian milfoil, and some other plants, what they do is they take a lot of the plants out of the water. They choke them out. So when you don't have plants in the water, you have nothing producing oxygen. And when you don't have oxygen in the water, that makes for really poor fishing. It also makes for real poor reproduction of fish or other species that are native to that water. So once you take that out, you choke out all the oxygen, and you know what happens when things lose oxygen, they die. So that's a huge concern in North Dakota. There's actually many regulations on what you have to do for your boat, if you take a boat, or if you have bait fish, what you have to do with them after you're done fishing. And it's a heavy fine if you get caught not doing some of this stuff. Question 7, how many inches of ice does it take until it's safe to drive a vehicle on? Well, depends on what kind of vehicle. I'm not somebody that's going to drive on the ice when there's questionable ice. I've never been that person. Some people, to each their own, I guess. If you gotta, and hopefully, if the ice is bad and you're driving on it, that you're still safe. So I'm not one to drive on sketchy ice. I typically take my four-wheeler out on the ice. Lately, there's been, every place I've been has been 2.5 to 3 feet of ice, and I have been driving on it. But typically, I'm somebody, if I'm going to drive on the ice, I take my smaller vehicle. So again, if I'm going to search for ice, okay, I don't really even need to use the Google, or I don't need to use the Game and Fish website. As what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up ice fishing. Let's try safe ice. Okay. Usually there's right here. I'm going to go to the Minnesota DNR, see what they have to say. This is the chart. I think they use it in every state that has ice in North America or in the United States. So it says less than 4 inches, it's a danger. People do go on ice less than 4 inches, and sometimes they fall through. 4 inches is safe to walk on. 5 to 7 for a snowmobile or an ATV. 8 to 12 with a small car, and 12 to 15 with a full-size pickup. I typically am not going to go on the ice. This is me. You guys might be different, until the ice is 18, 19, 20 inches. To me, that's what feels safe. But to each person, to each their own. Hopefully somebody pulls this guy out. All right. And our last question, if you want to go fishing in the lake in Williams County and you wanted to know about species and limits in the lake, who would I contact? Well, to me, that one's easy. You contact the game warden, or I'd contact the Williams County game warden, or something of that combination. I don't personally know his name because we are not even close to Williams County down here in Dickey. So those are the answers for your fun with fishing. And I hope you enjoyed looking through all the North Dakota Game and Fish stuff. We'll do some more Thursday with it. To me, it's really interesting. I love to fish, and I love to try new lakes. I love to go ice fishing and try new lakes. I love to take my little boat that I have and go try new lakes in the summer when I have time. And it's a real cool experience. I hope a lot of you like to fish, and you find this worksheet and you find this unit excitable and enjoying. Thanks.